turn is coming. I promise you. Like your opportunity, your turn is coming. My mom always told me when I was growing up, she said, look, there's no such thing as luck. Don't ever think that, people are lucky or just luck just fell upon them. No. There's no such thing as luck. There's only opportunity in those who are ready for it and those who are not. So I'm telling you, like, your opportunity is coming. What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, your favorite podcast that helps you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host with the most, your favorite coach, the Cameron Lovelace, helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. What's going on, y'all? I hope y'all are having a phenomenal start to August. That means we are less than 5 months away from the end of 2021. How are y'all doing today? Let's start there. Just how are you doing today? Like, personal check-in. I don't know if this, like, if anybody, has asked you, like, how you're doing. I don't know if anybody's, like, checked in with you or anything like that, but I'm asking you right now, like, check in with yourself. How are you doing? Like, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, like, how are you doing? Like, personal check in with yourself. And I asked that specifically after a conversation that I had with one of my clients this week. So she got some news from the doctor's report, and to not put her business out there, they basically told her that if she makes some changes in her diet, exercising, in her weight, and all that good stuff, she can avoid some health complications later down the line, right? And so we're talking through that, and first of all, before we even get to problem solving, because I mean, if you sit back and look at it, weight loss it's a formula. You change your diet, either you increase or decrease, you increase the frequency to boost the metabolism, and then of course you work out 4 to 5, 6, however much you want to do, right? And so but the thing is, before we even get to that part, I had to check in with her, like, because this news was a little devastating and a little disappointing to her. So first, I just want to check in with yourself, like, before we even get to, like, giving those tangible results, like giving some little nugget that's going to help you excel in your life and your career. How are you? Like, honestly, like, are you going through some depression? Are you a little anxious about something? Is something worrisome you? Are you isolating yourself? Are you a little mentally fatigued? Like, check in with yourself and try to see what that's about, and try to do something about it. Whether that is, changing your environment, whether that's going to therapy, whether that's doing some meditation, some prayer, enjoying people that you haven't seen in a long time, haven't made time for. Like, do something that is going to get you out of that funk. For those of y'all that are in that funk, or maybe you're going through a rough patch right now, like, do something that's gonna be able to recharge you. So that I wanted to start there, because that just really was on my heart right now. But let's go ahead and get into it, because if you've been living under a rock, then you don't know that the Olympics are this week. And y'all know I love a good sports analogy, but there's just so many different storylines across different sports that I could go on and on and on and out. But I'm gonna kind of summarize it under these guidelines, because this Olympic Games is, of course, different than previous ones, because it's obviously post a big shutdown of a year that was 2020, but also, like, there's no crowds in the stands. They have to get COVID tested. They have to always be on their P's and Q's. Like, their family isn't physically there. They have to FaceTime them and all this type of stuff. So it definitely gives me, like, the NBA bubble vibes. And so I'm interested, as a therapist, like, how this experience has been impacting them mentally. And we know a few of them that have spoken out, of course, like Simone Biles, who of course stood very loud and proud and said, "Look, mentally, I ain't right." And if I ain't mentally right, that means that's very dangerous for me with such a high flying sport. I could really hurt myself, and not only hurt myself, but I could hurt my team and keep them from even placing in the medal round. And so I'm curious about that, like how this is impacting them mentally, because we know that sports is, I would argue that it's 60% mental. Like only 40% is actually like your athletic ability, like you're practicing your strength and all that good stuff. But if you aren't mentally right, then you aren't able to execute on your physical abilities. And so what I'm seeing is that we have so many athletes who, I mean, in particular track and field, because of course my wife, those of y'all who don't know, she was a D1 athlete, was an amazing track athlete, and she of course follows the sport, like especially like big events like this. And she was like kind of confused because she was like, what's going on with these Americans? And I'm like, what you talking about? She's like at the Olympic trials, like they ran like much better than this. Like some of them aren't even touching like their top potential, right? And a piece of me was like, well, I wonder if it's similar to like the NBA bubble, whereas you're going to a whole nother country, number one, so you don't have your family, you don't have your usual supporters, you just got your staff and your teammates, right? You're not sleeping in your bed, you sleeping in a Olympic village, you sleeping on cardboard beds. You're not getting your usual, like your dieting, your exercise, your chef. You ain't got all that. You didn't got your usual thing. So maybe their routine might be messed up, which might be impacting their performance because they can't overcome those things that are mental blocks. So I'm curious about that. But let me ask you this: is there something that you can do, or something that you can do about your mental blocks, like you're changing in environments? Because I mean, guys, I don't know what's gonna happen with the Delta variant, but there's a lot of things that we cannot control and that will probably like change over the next course of the year, even with vaccines out there. But what can you do to mentally overcome those different hurdles? Like again, like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, what can you do to reset and create your own home court advantage? Like no matter where you're at, what can you do to create your home court that will help you thrive in the areas that you're trying to thrive? Whether that's in your family, whether that is in your job, whether that's in like finances, whether that's in your fitness, what can you do to create a home court advantage in your home? So for example, if you are, let's say you're extrovert, what can you do to like, create an extroverted environment? Can you invite vaccinated people only? Can you invite them over for a game night? Can you have like a Uno night or a spades night? Or can you have like it's still hot right now. Summer's almost over. Can you get those last minute barbecues in, right? Can you look at the live concerts, like the at home concerts that are going on? Can you get a live stream? Like, can you like go to another country? Like, what are the things that you can do to overcome those barriers and get that your energy back recharged? But what is it that you can do in this ever changing environment to create your home court advantage? What if I could show you exactly what's holding you back from reaching your greatest potential? What if I could help you see the most effective areas in your life that you should be spending the most time in instead of wasting it in all these other areas? What if I could help make your most intimate relationships even better? Would that interest you? Well then, my friend, I would like to welcome you into the jungle. The WTJ program is designed to help you grow not just professionally, but personally as well. You're not only going to get a customized 22-page report that's going to show you what animal you are, your secret superpower, your weaknesses, your ideal environment to be most effective, your communication style. It's going to show you it all, but I'm going to spend an hour with you so that you can implement it into your life immediately. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below this video, go to the website, and schedule your assessment and your appointment today. And now, back to the show. And that's what a lot of athletes have to deal with, especially in Olympic village and going into the Olympics and performing at their best, is that they have a difficulty doing that. Especially, I ain't gonna hold you. Like, think about it. If your parents are at all of your events, like they're supporting you the entire way, there's a huge time difference between Japan and the United States. And heck, we're not even talking about all these other countries that are going on, but the US is like 10-12 hour time difference. So they could have been, they have to wake up at 5 a.m. just to watch their daughter, to watch their son perform. And even before then, they might not be able to talk to them because obviously they're asleep and they're performing. So it's I'm sure it's a whole lot of mental fatigue happening right now in the Olympics that is, of course, impacting their performance. Now, some of them, I ain't gonna say the best, but some of the top athletes are true to this, and they're able to overcome those mental barriers. And though I want to call attention to some specific athletes. So there are some athletes that we were watching, and the one that stuck out to me was a 17-year-old who was who placed fourth in the 200-meter final, men's. 17-year-old, and at the Olympic Games, 1-7, not even 18 yet. I don't know what college he's going to. I don't know, but he is an American and he's 17 years old. I'll put his name on the screen when I do it in post. But he placed fourth. Like, he won his heats, but he fizzled out and he lost to I think I know another American like placed like silver or whatever. But there are plenty of athletes that are at the games right now that are knocking at the door. That are just right there from placing, and some knocking at the door at even getting that gold medal. And I have no doubt that some of those athletes will be back, and some of them will come back better than ever. Like, for example, the boy that won the 200 meter was a Canadian. I believe his last name is DeGrasse. But he lost in the last Olympics to Usain Bolt. Like, literally the only person that you lost to was the person that was the fastest man in the world at the time, and hold the Olympic records and stuff like that. But that's he was 21 when that race happened. So at 21, you're knocking at the door to win and compete at the highest level. Like, there's only a couple people that can even compete with you in that category, and you were knocking at the door 5 years ago. And now here you are 5 years later in Tokyo with no Bolt. You competed against these same dudes at world championships, and you take home like the gold, like in I'll say pretty dominating fashion. So I think about him, and I think about the 17-year-old. And I'm just thinking, man, like this level of exposure, this level of competition, this doing this at the highest level at such a young age, boy, you already knocking at the door, boy. Like, it's only a matter of time, and I can't wait to see these same athletes like in 2 years from now at Worlds, or maybe next year. I don't know how you're gonna work that out, but at World Championships, and then 4 years later or 3 years later at the Olympics. And there's so many of you that I think can relate to their stories. Like, some of you are knocking there right at the door. Like, you're there. You're building your skill set. You're working on yourself. Like, you're going to therapy. Like, you're listening to podcasts like this one. Like, you're doing your thing, and you are knocking at the door of your next opportunity. You just have to wait your turn. Your turn is coming. I promise you. Like, your opportunity, your turn is coming. My mom always told me when I was growing up. She said, "Look, there's no such thing as luck. Don't ever think that people are lucky, or just luck just fell upon them. No. There's no such thing as luck. There's only opportunity in those who are ready for it and those who are not. So I'm telling you, like, your opportunity is coming. Like, those of you who are getting ready to see what eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard, like those of you who are getting ready, Like those of you who are preparing yourselves, like you're preparing yourself for your spouse, you're preparing yourself to step into a new role, you're preparing your business to go to that next level. Those of you who are honestly like preparing, I'm telling you, your opportunity is coming. Trust me. I can't say it's coming tomorrow. I can't say it's coming next week. I can't say it's coming this month. But I'm telling you, your opportunity is coming. And all this preparation that you're doing, I promise you, it will not go to waste because you are knocking at the door. And sooner or later, it will open. So I'm telling you this now, like, and also to put a fire on those of you who are sitting back doing nothing. I want you to get ready, get ready, get ready. I want you to start preparing because preparation, is what invites opportunity in your life. Because if you aren't prepared, then you just lose out on opportunities. And so I don't want you who's listening to this, who's a good person, like you a good person, you treat people right, you don't do no wrong to people, but you're a little lazy. I'm not gonna lie. You don't do the weekly, heck, even the you don't do the weekly things, the bi-weekly things, the monthly things to just keep moving forward in your area that you're trying to grow in. So I'm challenging you today to putting a fire behind you. Like, look, get ready because the opportunity will come and you'll be knocking at the door. And when that door opens, you're going to step into a big blessing. I'm just telling you guys. So just do yourself a favor and keep preparing and keep knocking at the door, just like these Olympic athletes experience their level of success, because that can be you too on your level. Maybe not for the entire world to see, but in your private living room, in like you getting your credit together, you getting your finances together, you getting your degree, you out there grinding, you out there going to therapy, you out there doing what you need to do to get everything in your life straight. I promise you, when it all comes together, you're going to look back and say, man, it all paid off. I promise you. Now, the next thing that I definitely have to point out is some athletes like just perform in competition. And I didn't understand that at first because like I just thought that, like you practice because I'm no 5-star track athlete. So I just thought, you train and you get faster and different stuff like that. And like, you used to run in certain times, like you train to run a certain time. And in some degree, that's right. However, what my wife was able to point out to me is that you actually run faster in competition because it's just something about seeing a person beside you or ahead of you that's going to shift you into an entirely new gear. Like this is going to help you perform at like world class level. Like when you train or when you like compete against other world class athletes, like it just pushes you to another level. And the biggest example of that is hold on, I don't want to butcher her name, but Sydney McLaughlin, I think her name is. But the world record holder in the 400 meter hurdles. And so what was interesting is that her American teammate, I forget her name, but the last name is Muhammad. She had won the last Olympics. She was the one who was there, and Sydney, again, going back to knocking at the door, was like her rival, her teammate, like number 2. And so at the U.S. trials, she was, of course, it's them two again, obviously, and of course there's everybody else, but they're the ones who were highlighting and the ones who were favored. But Sydney broke the world record at the trials, right? I don't remember the exact time, but she like shattered like the world record, like competing against her rival, like doing her best, like having somebody to like hold you like to high esteem, like hold you to a tough standard. Because I don't know if they train together, but I'm sure that when they train, they thinking about, man, if I just push a little bit harder, man, if I train this way, if I can beat them, like. And I'm sure the other person was like, look, I can't, like Muhammad was like, look, I can't let up, I cannot let this girl like beat me, I have to give out my best effort or else Sydney's gonna come for my neck, she's gonna come for my head. And then the Olympic trials, Sydney came for her. Like she came for her in spectacular fashion and shattered like the world record, right? So, and here we are, fast forward a couple months later in the Olympics for the women's 400-meter final. I sat there and asked Sparkle, I said, hey, has anybody ever shattered the world record like twice in one season? Like, is that even possible to like not only like beat the record, but then beat your record on top of that, right? Is that possible? Has that been done before? And she was like, I don't know. We'll see. And so in fashion, here we are again in the finals, and it's Muhammad and it's Sydney McLaughlin, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm watching. So the race starts, and of course I'm watching as you can YouTube this yourself. And Muhammad got out like she took the lead. Like she had the lead for majority of the race, right? And it coming down to the home stretch, and this is where I come. This is where I want to point out like your level of competition just shifts you into a whole nother gear. I have no doubt that when Muhammad was training, she was thinking about Sydney's world record pace, and she ran like when the time finished, she ran her personal best, which I'm pretty sure if you check it again, it probably was on pace to be the new world record or on world record pace, right? Um, but here's the thing though. Like I said, she was in the lead, but Sydney was not far behind. So Sydney's like personal tracker, like her pace, like her level of effort that she was getting was based on who was in front of her. So I have no doubt that if Muhammad wasn't in front of her, she wouldn't have been able to shift it into another gear and be able to pass her and even pass her world record pace that she had just shattered a few months ago. Crazy. And I have no doubt that it was because of her rival that was there in the race with her that caused her to give out another level of effort, another level of energy. Like you can train, you can prepare, you can do all of these things, but if you don't have something that is pushing you, that's something that's going to motivate you in your level of competition, like I don't think she would have been able to shatter the world record again. I just like what? So for those of you who are not world star athlete, you're like, Cameron, what does that have to do with me? Like, you need to rise like your level of competition. Like that means you might need to change who you're hanging around. Like that might need to change who you're following. Like the people that you're looking at every day, you might need to look at them and say, like, look, I'm sweeter than all of y'all. So I need to get some better competition. Like in my business, in my career, like in my family, in my being a husband, like me talking about me right now. Like maybe I need to hang around different husbands who are doing like phenomenal things that my measly little acts of service, boy, that I'm doing is looking like nothing, and they're causing me to shift to another level, and that comes to your level of your environment, the people that you are consuming in terms of being around, in terms of watching instead of seeing how they act. Like step your level of exposure up or your level of competition up so that you can rise to their occasion and maybe even surpass them. So, but that's just people like me. I'm telling you, like, and even if you aren't able to beat them, I'm telling you, you're going to bring out a better version of yourself because not only did those two run their personal best, guess what? The third place winner, she ran her personal best too. She didn't win, but she was trying to beat them, so she's going to put in more effort. Like even if you do not beat them, you're still, I mean, because we know that really you're competing against yourself first and then everyone else, but ultimately you want to do your best. And if your best can be better, like you want to push yourself to that next level. You want to, you need to. And so you might need to put people around you who are better than you, like legitimately are better than you. And so their habits can rub off on you. Their talents can rub off on you. Their work ethic, their energy, their drive, those things can rub off on you. And so those of you you find yourself stagnant, those of you who find yourself you just struggling, maybe you need to change the people around you, because you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. I'm gonna say that again for those of you who didn't catch that. You can't change how people act around you. You can't change your friends that you grew up with. You can't change their habits. You can't change that. But you can change the people that you hang out with. You can add some more people into the mix. You can add some more people that are actually doing some phenomenal things in their life. You can start hanging out with them. You can start going out to dinner with them. You can start collaborating with them. That can be the small difference that you need to change to get to that next level, to get to that version of the good life that you're trying to get to, is by hanging out with other people who are creating their version of the good life. It only makes sense. All right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this Olympic edition of Pursuit of the Good Life podcast. Hey, if you're listening to this, I want you to contact me, email me some people that you guys want to see. It is August, and I just learned that it is Black Business Month. So I would love to interview some Black business entrepreneur people who are killing it. So if you got some people who you guys want to hear from, do me a huge favor and DM me on Instagram or on Facebook. Like, let me know, shoot some people to me. I'll reach out to them. I'll try to get them on. Like, I'm for like highlighting, positive, good Black businesses. Y'all feel me? All right. So hope you guys enjoyed that episode, but do me a huge favor. The best way you guys can support the podcast is to subscribe. Like, subscribe where you're watching this, whether it be on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, like whatever you're using to consume this. Like, subscribe. That's the best way to support. And of course, like, comment, rate, 5-star review, and share this with somebody who you know this could benefit. Like that again, the best way to support the podcast is to follow and share the message, because I think it's pretty good. A lot of other people think it's pretty good, so I think you can help out. All right, y'all know how we're doing. We're helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. But until then, we'll see you next week.